In the tendency to map our tradition onto terms that the West can control, one of the huge debates has been, are we monotheistic, are we polytheistic, are we pantheistic? And these are terms that are from Judeo-Christian history. I mean, they're monotheistic who fought against polytheists and pantheists as primitive people. I feel uncomfortable mapping to any of these because they don't have exactly, and none of them can contain us. Unfortunately, our people have started fighting amongst ourselves, some saying we are polytheistic and some saying we are monotheistic. What do you think of this debate?
Yeah, problem is that people don't study properly our scriptures, and we don't have just one book and just one form of God, and this is what causes confusion in the mind of people who don't study properly. Although we had a very beautiful system of understanding the Shastra and understanding the truth, but when we don't study, then we have either our own speculations or we have some half-baked knowledge from internet or hearing somebody YouTube talks, or some new age scholars are there, or we study the Western scholars who are trying to map our knowledge systems onto the Western system. So, really speaking, none of these terms define the tattva. Really speaking, our knowledge is, we are tattvavadis. That is in one word, if you can say, and this is a very interesting word, tattva. It comes from the word tat, it simply means that. So, tattva means thatness. Now, that is a pronoun, and pronoun is that which can be used for any noun. So, thatness is that which is the essence of everything, and essence does not mean just that, it goes to the root cause. So, you can say, well, the essence of this chair is wood, but that itself is not wood. Wood is also coming from something else, and that is coming from something else. So, you go to the original source, and that is the Brahman, athato brahma jigyasa janmadasya yataha. So, that tattva is the one reality, that is the advaigyan. If you want to define what is the philosophy, then the simple thing is that our philosophy is that ultimate reality or tattva is non-dual consciousness. So, non-dual, again, why I am not saying monistic consciousness and non-dual, because when you say monistic means you are trying to say it is only one. Non-dual means that it is one, but it does not negate the variety in it. So, the absolute reality is conscious and it has variety in it, that is the meaning of advaigyan. Now, there is no word which can fit that in English, whether it is monotheism or it is polytheism or it is pantheism, none of these words capture the sense of that.
Especially since they've had a war, the monotheistics had a war to destroy, plunder, oppress, finish off the polytheism of the pagan religions.
Right.
So, that being the case, it's very difficult for them to accept something which reminds them of what they had eradicated.
Yes.
So, when they find something interesting in Hinduism and they really want it, it's very difficult for them to digest it. So, they come up with all kind of gymnastics and circus to try and make it fit, but they have a problem to make it fit, and in the process they end up distorting.
Right.
So, monotheism would not apply, because in the monotheistic there is one God, but there is no manifestation and forms into multiplicity, and there is no multiple deities, there are no devatas. Angels are not people. Then see, that's another problem. People try to say, okay, let's map our devatas as angels.
Right.
Then that's another problem, because when you look at the metaphysics of these angels, firstly it's very ill defined. In the Bible there's not too much described on who these people are, and there is a particular sort of a census of angels. There's a list of these angels. So, Gabriel is one angel, he does certain things, So, we end up having the trouble, the risk of mapping our devatas on to fit these angels.
Yeah, and that will not work.
That will not work.
Because it does not match the characteristics of the angels.
It does not match the characteristics of these angels, and also there is no profound philosophy of equivalent to who are these devatas and what's the relationship between devatas and Brahman.
Right.
I think they do not have that worked out in such a way. So we will be taking a sophisticated, well-defined, close, harmonious system and replacing it with something which is not so.
Yeah, and then you have to chop off so many things to fit into that.
That's right.
Small framework.
That framework. So the other one is polytheism. So the pagans the polytheism, they understand in terms of the polytheists they came across. They came across polytheists in various parts of the world, and they eradicated that in order to bring Christianity. So the polytheists lack the understanding of Brahman. I mean, they just have this god there, this god there, but there isn't. It is not integrated with the same profoundness because there is nothing like equivalent to Vedas. I mean, they don't have the Vedas, they don't have the Shastras. So the polytheists, the pagan polytheists lacked the Shastras. So if we start calling ourselves polytheists, then we'll have a whole uphill job to kind of revalidate our Shastras. So that is my difficulty with polytheism. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it does not fit. You see, the thing which I am saying is that none of these words actually capture the reality. We have to just understand that our reality is Satchidananda, and it is all pervading. It is into everything. Yet at the same time, this whole cosmos manifests from that, which also has the characteristic of inertness in it, the matter. So this is what people are unable to understand. That's why we say that this reality is achintya, that you can just conceive it like that. So all these words are concepts basically of a material mind. But what is being described as a tattva, as a Brahman, that is not a concept of some material mind. That is a realization of somebody who has aligned himself or herself with that reality, and that reality has spoken to that. So this we have to understand, that these concepts are just somebody's speculation actually. It's a material concept. It may capture part of the truth. Whatever is monotheism, whatever is polytheism or pantheism or pantheism, all these words, they all fit into our philosophy some part, but none of them captures the complete reality. And the reason for this is that these are just products of mind of some.
So we should require a person to understand Brahman, Ishwar, Bhagavan, all of these in order to understand our metaphysics.
Right.
And you cannot sort of replace them with one simple term, and because even God would replace all of these. God would replace, then you no longer have Brahman, you no longer have Krishna, Shiva, you no longer have Ishwar, you no longer have Paramatma, you have none of those. The vocabulary would be collapsed into one thing called God. But for us, each of those got a separate meaning.
And they all have some meaning behind it.
The reason why those words exist.
So this is a very fundamental distinction, that these words which have been used in the Shastra, they are based on experience. They are not just because somebody has thought about it and then starts describing. It is not based like that. It is based on somebody who has realized it and then tried to express that realization for understanding of other people. So the approach is different, and then that person gives you the process how you can also verify it by your own experience. That is not there. Now whether it is monotheistic or polytheistic, you go on arguing with each other.
Right.
But is there a way to verify it?
See, part of the problem we've had is inferiority complex. When monotheist and polytheist and various other people, pantheists, they are arguing, we have felt we are left out. Our scholars have felt, we have left out. I'll write a paper that we are monotheists, then I'll get into the monotheist panel.
Right.
Or I'll write a paper, then we are polytheists, I'll get into that. Because they have tracks, and you want to submit a paper on this one, that one, that one, and if it's none of these, you won't even get your paper in. Or a publishing house says, well, what are you? We have to, our classification system is how we are marketing, and so your book has to fit into one of these. So your dissertation has to fit in one of these. But I think now we are strong enough. We don't have to fit into their framework. I think we have to start saying that, look, I do not want to describe our tradition as any of those things that you're talking about. I will explain to you who we are in our own vocabulary.
This
That's
is
what
a very wonderful observation, and people must become aware of it.
Yes.
That we don't need to fit into their system; they must add
Right.
this as a new thing to
Yes.
their system.
Yeah, because I find this, a lot of our people are distorting, good scholars also, they're saying to go for that travel, to go for that grant, I have to I have to apply like this. That is what, and because they have the power, we want to fit in to get ahead. But while fitting in to get ahead, we also start thinking like that. We forget the original tattva.
Yeah, this is because we have neglected our own, darshanas.
Yes.
They are writing papers, they have journals, they do seminars, they do conferences. We don't do anything like this.
Right.
So we have to start doing that.
Right.
And I think you have started this.
In our own humble way.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is very wonderful,
Yes.
this
No,
Indology.
yes, we are going to do that.